Acum o să invit pe Melissa să ne povestească puțin despre cloud.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa and I am a solutions engineer from F5. I hope it's okay that my presentation is in English today. I just arrived in Romania yesterday, so it's my first time in Romania, and the language sounds about as hard as German does. So hopefully it's okay that I do this in English. So my topic today is API security in a multi-cloud and AI-driven world. And if you have any questions, just please jot them down and then find me later at the end, and we can talk it through. So the application world has changed. There was a prediction in our industry a couple years ago that all of our applications would be moved from the traditional data center into the public cloud. However, that actually did not end up happening. What ended up happening was applications wound up residing on not one, but many public clouds. And it was actually during this time period that we really saw the surgence of modern applications. And if you think about the way a modern application is architected, it's typically composed of a lot of different microservices, and those microservices communicate via APIs. So what's started to happen is what I call the ball of fire, and it's a pretty accurate representation of the current landscape for applications and APIs. It's chaotic, it's complex, and it's becoming harder and harder to secure APIs, and that's what I want to get into next. But it's actually about to get more chaotic, and that is really due to the rise of AI. And I think AI is a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot. So if we just break it down into more simple terms, an AI-driven application is just the most modern of modern applications. So the similarity between an AI-driven app and a traditional modern application is it's just lots more APIs. So if you look at our ball of fire, it's more complex, more chaotic, because we have more apps, more APIs, and this ever-expanding attack surface. And every year there is a report put out by our CTO from F5, and I find it quite interesting because it shows a prediction of where we're heading with the total number of APIs. And irregardless of which prediction you're looking at, so there's a conservative prediction, there's an aggressive prediction, both showcase phenomenal growth when it comes to just the sheer number of APIs that will be in existence, with an estimation of upwards of 1 billion by the year 2031. So if you can imagine that the ball of fire looks complex and chaotic now, it's about to get much more chaotic. So some of the risks we've already seen so far. We've talked about how multi-cloud architectures are contributing to just the complexity of APIs sprawl. We've talked about how the adoption of microservices is also pushing that sprawl further. We've talked about how AI-powered applications and the services and APIs that power them is making the ball of fire even bigger. So I want to just keep it a little bit more high level, and I pulled some risks that some API risks that in my opinion are quite relevant to the conversation we're going to have today. And the first one seems quite obvious, but APIs, they're accessible from anywhere. So anywhere that you can access an API, whether that's via your mobile or your computer, that is an opportunity for an attack. Also, the structure of an API, they are designed to be open, right? So they show there's a direct path from the front of the application to the back end of the application. That's another opportunity for an attack. And the last one is they typically query large data sets. And in these AI requests and responses, especially the responses of the PI data or credential data is often returned. So all three of these risks are to be considered when we talk about API security as a whole. So I want to go a little bit into what we do at F5 and specifically our API security solution. So there is probably nothing more true than you cannot protect what you cannot see. So the first part of the solution is we have to discover APIs. We have to know where APIs are, where they exist, and then once we find that out, then we can start testing them and figure out if there's any vulnerabilities or anomalies, and then we would add protections, so whether that's enforcing a positive security model or WAF, whatever the case may be. And then all of that is done from a centralized console, so one management plane. So wherever the solution is deployed, you have one view of what you're looking at. So I want to actually take you into the distributed cloud console, and this is the discovery view. And as soon as the discovery view is launched, the surface of the API is automatically discovered. And you're going to, and for each API leaf, a model's built that shows us quite interesting metrics such as errors and latency and request metrics. And actually, a really critical part of this entire process is the solution's ability to find shadow APIs. And when I say shadow APIs, I mean an API that is ungoverned, so it's undiscovered. Maybe it hasn't been checked into inventory yet. So if you can see the screen, might be hard to see from the back, that's what the little red squares look like. Those are representative of shadow APIs. And then the entire time that the API is being watched, a schema or a Swagger file is generated that shows the entire API definition. And then you can take that Swagger file and export it and use it in other parts of your infrastructure to keep your API definitions up to date. Another capability of the service is you can actually see if an API is unauthenticated or not. So essentially, are you who you say you are? So is the person accessing the API, do they have the correct credentials? So you can also see how the person was authenticated. Were they authenticated with a JSON web token or an API key? All of that you can see right from the console view. And there's also a risk score calculated, and the risk score essentially takes a couple different metrics into account, such as attack likelihood or possibility of attack happening again. And then a risk score, you can then apply remediation efforts according to the risk score. And then on top of that, you can apply any type of blocking or rate limiting rules as well. Now, one of the third risks that we looked at was everything to do with PII data, which I think is an important one. And when I say PII, I mean personal identifiable information. So social security numbers, credit card numbers, emails, all of these types of things that you wouldn't want the public to see. Well, in the console, it shows actually right up. So it'll show what sensitive data type was triggered in the API, what PII you will be seeing. And right from there, you can, again, take remediation efforts and decide if you want to mask that PII information, so your developers can do it right from the console. And I have only actually spoken about the API security portion of our WAP solution. So we've talked about discovery from 3 different engines. So I did probably forget to mention those, but there's 3 different engines in the API security solution. So there's a code engine and a crawler engine and a traffic engine. So the code engine will actually discover your APIs by scanning your external repositories. So whether that's a GitHub repository or Gitbucket repository, and it shows everything right in the console. And then you layer that with the traffic discovery engine, and that actually will take all of your endpoints found in any traffic going to and from the API. And then the third discovery engine is called the, okay, well, forget it. I forget what it's called now, but those 3 engines make up the discovery part of the API security solution. And then the bot defense portion, I mean, this detects automated and malicious threats. And the web app firewall blade. So this is actually has the same core of our Big IP product. It has the same core engine. And then, of course, there is DDoS mitigation blade as well. So that will do deep packet inspection and provide protections from layer 3 all the way up to layer 7. And then all of that can be done from the distributed cloud console, which can be deployed anywhere, whether that's in any public cloud, an on-premise environment, or an edge environment as well. So I just want to close with a little awards slide. I don't know if you guys can see it so well in the back. Okay, so the one I specifically want to point out is the SC Award. So F5 is the winner for the best API security solution. This is a well-respected award in our industry. And then also I wanted to point out the IDC Award, which indicates that F5 is the leading vendor in IDC market space for web application and API protection. So I just did a brief overview of our distributed cloud solution, but we also have BIG-IP and we have NGINX as well. So if you want to talk about any of those product families as well, just please find me and we can go through it. So thank you everyone for your attention.
F5 filtrează traficul, dar nu și intențiile. Un scop clar, un port USB liber și un network adapter la îndemână sunt uneori tot ce am nevoie pentru a mă strecura printre cele mai bine păzite sisteme. Vreți sau nu, regula se schimbă când regula vine din exterior.